Hello, investors. My name is Joe Torre. I'm an investment counselor with RealWealth, a real estate investment firm. Today, we're going to do a quick video on how to buy real estate out of state. This is a question that comes up a lot. So here's a scenario. You live in a place that's great to live, but not a great place to invest. It might be a highly expensive place like Manhattan, where the prices are too high and the rents are too low relative to purchase price, so you have negative cash flow of $1,000 a month. Or it might be maybe you live in some rural area out in the country and there's just no opportunities for investment. So that means you have to invest out of state, but that's kind of scary because you're going to be investing in a property that's 1,000 miles away or 3,000 miles away, and you're not going to be there to look after it. So that's the problem that we're going to solve today. The goal here is to live where you want, but invest where it makes sense. So what you'll need, a couple things. First thing is a good market, and I'll go through these quickly. Job and population growth, fairly good sized metro population, say 500,000 or more, a diverse economy, favorable landlord-tenant laws, and positive cash flow. So job and population growth are very important because if the population's growing and jobs are moving into the area, that means demand for housing is going to go up. So that means rents will go up and property values will go up over time. The reason you want a good-sized metro population is because, one, you need good property management. Preferably, you want to identify 2 good property management companies in a given area. So if the first one you hire doesn't work out, you have a backup. If you're in a small town or small city of 50,000 people, you're not going to have that many options when it comes to property management. There might only be one in town. And also, if a local factory closes down or something in a small metro of 50,000, that could really devastate the local economy. A larger economy or metro area with 500,000 people or so or greater is a safer bet. The next thing you want is a diverse economy. So an economy where you have lots of different industries represented is more resilient in bad times. So a good example is Atlanta. If you look at the top 10 employers in Atlanta, like no 2 are in the same industry. Coca-Cola's there, UPS is there, Home Depot's headquartered there, the Center for Disease Control is there, Delta Airlines is there. So if one part of the economy is not doing well, then other parts of the economy can take up the slack. The economies that have problems are places like Detroit, which is all about automobiles, or Las Vegas, which has one industry, tourism. When there's a recession, single industry cities tend to suffer more. Your tenants will lose their jobs, not be able to pay rent, and creates a bunch of problems. So a diverse economy is a good thing to look for. The next thing is landlord-tenant laws that either favor the landlord or at least are neutral. So there are some states where it's almost impossible to evict a tenant who's not paying rent. And a street-smart tenant who knows how to game the system will just live in your house for free for 6 months until you get rid of him. Other states, if they're not out in 14 days, the sheriff's deputy shows up and evicts them. So you want to be in a place where the landlord-tenant laws favor you, the landlord. And then finally, you want positive cash flow. You don't want to have negative 500 a month or 300 a month. That'll just eat away at your savings. And if you lose your job at some point, which you will, because real estate is a long-term investment, at some point during the time you own it, you're going to lose your job. Having a negative cash flow is going to hurt you. So in addition to a good market, you also need good property providers. So that could be new home builders, or it could be a turnkey provider. These are people who buy an existing home, say built in the 80s, and then they renovate it. They put in new kitchens, new baths, new carpet, new paint, fix it up so it's nice and rentable. So either of those 2 are good options. Also multifamilies like duplexes and fourplexes, but all of these must cash flow. There are some markets where you can buy a brand new house, but it's going to be negative cash flow, and that's going to introduce a lot of risk. This one's the most important thing, property management. You'll need good property management. When investors do fail, the #1 cause of their failure is property management. Either they're incompetent, or they sometimes they're just outright crooks. They'll say you need a new water heater and charge you $400. You don't need a new water heater. How do you know? You're 1,000 miles away. So they'll just rip you off. So you have to have a good property management, and preferably several in the same market. So that's why we said earlier, you want to be in a major metro where you can identify multiple good property management companies. So it should be a professional operation, not a mom and pop shop. The problem with mom and pop shop is that if mom is on vacation or is out sick, there's no one minding the store and there's no backup. So you want a deep bench of property managers, leasing agents, work crews, so that when there's busy periods or somebody's out for vacation, you have a lot of people who can take up the slack. You also want scalable software and systems, so you have reporting 24/7, so you can find out what's going on with your property anytime you want. And a good rule of thumb is that a property management company should have about 300 properties under management or more. Below that number, it's small. It's too small to hire enough people to give you good service. So they have a lot of problems and a lot of time, a lot of projects that they have to work on, a lot of repairs to make, and they don't have enough people and they can't afford to hire more people. But after 300 properties under management, they start to get economies of scale and they can provide better service. So that's just a rule of thumb. And as I said earlier, you want to identify more than one good property manager per market. And then service providers. You want lenders, preferably a lender who's licensed in multiple states. So if you decide to invest in one state and then 6 months later buy another property in another state, you don't want to go through the hassle of having to submit your tax returns and your W-2 forms all over again to a new lender. If you have a lender who can lend anywhere, you just have your paperwork on file and you can borrow anywhere you choose to invest. It's also important that your lender be a specialist in investor loan products. Most lenders just deal with owner-occupants who are going to buy a house to live in, and they're not aware of some of the loan products that are out there, especially for investors. So you want someone like that. And then, of course, the whole ecosystem that supports real estate, inspectors, appraisers, insurance agents, and others. So to build a team like this is kind of a daunting task, but that's what you need in order to invest remotely. Doing it yourself is kind of risky because it's hard to build a team, especially far away. And what's the odds you're going to do it right and not make mistakes? So you can make a mistake and it'll cost you a lot. And real estate's not a liquid asset. If you make a mistake, you're going to be stuck with it for a while. So it's safer to work with an established provider, at least in the beginning. And that's what RealWealth does. So RealWealth was founded in the Bay Area in California 20 years ago just to solve this problem. You can see San Francisco skyline there. San Francisco is one of the highest priced metros in the country and does not cash flow at all. So you can buy a property there for $1 million and it will rent for $5,000 a month and you'll have negative cash flow of $1,000 or more every month. So that's not a great place to invest. A lot of our investors are tech workers in Silicon Valley. They work for Google, Facebook, and those kind of companies. And they want to invest in real estate, but not here. So that's how RealWealth got started. We do all the heavy lifting. So we do all the economic research to find the best real estate investment markets. We have thorough vetting of property providers and property management. Of free education. We have a website with over 900 webinars, articles, and podcasts on all aspects of real estate investing. And we're a community of 70,000 members at this point and growing all the time. In addition to providing all these resources, we're also your advocate after the purchase. So if a year down the road you're having trouble with a property manager not getting back to you or not being responsive, you let us know and we'll get them on the phone and get them to sort it out. Because we send them a lot of business, so they want to keep our members happy. So this is one of the risks of trying to buy properties remotely. You're a single individual investor and you don't have a whole lot of clout. Well, as part of a network of 70,000 members, you do have clout. So you can work with these providers and they'll be responsive. So here's an overview of the markets we're in, just for FYI. About 15 markets overall. About a third are in the Midwest. They tend to cash flow really well, but they don't appreciate very much. And the ones in the Sun Belt, like Florida or Texas, they appreciate really well, but don't cash flow as much. So a lot depends on your goal. What are you trying to accomplish with your investing? And we have other webinars and videos on that. And in each of these markets, we have property providers. The new home builders are typically in the Sun Belt, where there's a lot of growth, and the renovated homes are the ones in the Midwest. We have property management in all these markets, lenders, insurance agents, CPAs, attorneys, 1031 exchange people. The whole ecosystem you need to do real estate investing is already set up for you. So as an overview, how it works, you get a free membership at RealWealth.com, which I'll show you in a minute. And then you just get educated, watch the webinars every week, every Thursday, review the webinars that are archived on our site. When you're ready, you can schedule a strategy session with an investment counselor like myself. I'm one of 3, and you can learn about what market is best for you. When you talk about your goals, your risk tolerance, your time frame, of the 15 markets, it's kind of overwhelming to try to analyze all of them. So we'll narrow it down to the 2 or 3 that are best for you, and then you can focus on those. And then you just contact the property providers, tell them that we spoke and we want to see their properties, what properties they have in the pipeline, and they'll send you a link, or they'll put you on their email distribution list every time they get a new property. While you're evaluating those, you can get pre-approved for financing with one of our lenders, or your own lender. If you want to use your own, that's fine too. And if you want, you can visit in person, or you can just do it all remotely. When you see a property you like, you just sign the contract electronically with DocuSign and wire the earnest money deposit, and you're in business. So if you want to learn more about this option, here's how you do it. You go to RealWealth.com and you get a free membership. This is our homepage, and those are our founders, Rich and Kathy Fetke. So you click this button here where it says join for free, and you get a free membership. The first thing you'll do is want to watch the core curriculum. It's 4 short 15-minute videos on how to get started. We have a library of over 900 webinars, but that's kind of overwhelming. So we created this core curriculum just to get you started. This is what you need to know to get started. Watch that, and then watch any other webinars or read any articles that you're interested in. We add to the content every week. Every Thursday, we have a webinar about a new market or a new aspect of real estate investing. And if and when you're ready, you can speak to an investment counselor like myself, ask your questions, and get recommendations for your specific situation. And again, it's all for free. People often ask, how do we pay the bills? The answer is we educate investors and send them to our different property teams around the country. And if our members buy something, those property teams sends us a referral fee out of their commission. So that's how we're able to offer you all this for free. So that, in a nutshell, is how to invest remotely in real estate. So I hope you found that video worthwhile. Thanks for watching.